Hello class, welcome to today's session. Lesson 18, Propaganda and Publicity, Two-Step Flow Theory. Introduction. The two-step flow theory was developed by sociologists Paul Lazarsfeld, Bernard Berelson and Hazel Gaudet in the 1940s. The theory was originally developed to explain the flow of information in the context of marketing and public opinion. But this can be also applied to the understanding of propaganda dissemination. In the realm of propaganda, the theory suggests that the impact of propaganda messages is mediated by opinion leaders who play a crucial role in interpreting, filtering and disseminating information to broader public. Objectives. Two-step flow theory, emphasizing its core principle that opinion leaders mediate the impact of media messages on the general public. Identify opinion leaders in the context of propaganda, exploring how figures like political leaders and influencers shape public perception. Detail the process of media exposure and interpretation by opinion leaders, highlighting their role in filtering propaganda content. Describe the dissemination of propaganda from opinion leaders to the masses through various communication channels. Analyze the indirect influence of propaganda on public opinion, emphasizing the intermediary role played by opinion leaders. Explore how opinion leaders contribute to the amplification and reinforcement of propaganda messages within their social circles. Examine the role of opinion leaders in political propaganda campaigns, emphasizing their influence on shaping public opinions. Outline the stages of the two-step flow process, including media exposure, interpretation by opinion leaders, dissemination and mass influence. Also, understand the pros and cons of two-step flow theory. The two-step flow theory. The theory suggests that media messages do not directly influence all individuals in audience. Instead, there is an intermediary step where opinion leaders play a crucial role in shaping and disseminating media-influenced opinions to wider public. Here is a detailed explanation of the two-step flow theory. Identification of opinion leaders in propaganda. In the context of propaganda, certain individuals or groups may act as opinion leaders. These could be political figures, community leaders, influencers or individuals with a significant following. Propagandists may strategically target these opinion leaders, recognizing their ability to influence public perceptions. Media exposure and opinion leaders. Propaganda messages are disseminated through mass media channels. Opinion leaders, being more active consumers of media, are exposed to these messages. They may selectively choose the propaganda content which they find relevant or aligning with the existing beliefs and values. Interpretation and filtration by opinion leaders. Opinion leaders act as filters for propaganda content. They interpret the messages based on their own perspectives, values and ideologies. The interpretation by opinion leaders is crucial as it shapes how the propaganda is understood and framed before being transmitted to the wider audience. Dissemination to the masses. Once opinion leaders have interpreted the propaganda messages, they engage in interpersonal communication with the wider public. This dissemination can occur through various channels including face-to-face interactions, community events, social media and other communication platforms where the opinion leaders have influence. Influence on public opinion. The wider public influenced by the opinions and interpretations of opinion leaders is more likely to be receptive to the propaganda messages. The impact on the masses is indirect, occurring through the intermediary role of opinion leaders who lend credibility and context to the propaganda content. Amplification and reinforcement. Opinion leaders contribute to the amplification and reinforcement of propaganda messages. Their endorsement or framing of messages may enhance the persuasiveness and credibility of the content, making it more likely for individuals within their social circles to accept and adopt the propaganded viewpoints. Political propaganda campaigns. In political propaganda, political leaders, activists, or influential figures often serve as opinion leaders. Propagandists strategically target these individuals to ensure that their interpretation and endorsement for political message reach to broader audience. The interpersonal communication between these opinion leaders and public plays a pivotal role in shaping political opinions. Stages in two-step flow process. Media exposure. The process begins with opinion leaders being exposed to the media messages. These individuals are likely to have higher levels of media consumption and access to a variety of information sources. Opinion leaders' interpretation. Opinion leaders interpret and evaluate the media content based on their own knowledge, values, and beliefs. They act as filters, deciding which information is relevant, credible, and worth sharing. Dissemination to the masses. Opinion leaders share their interpretation and opinion with the wider public in their social circles. This dissemination occurs through face-to-face conversations, discussions, and other interpersonal communication channels. Mass influence. The wider public is influenced by the opinion and interpretations provided by opinion leaders. The impact on the masses is indirect as it occurs through the interpersonal communication process facilitated by the opinion leaders. Examples to understand two-step flow theory. For instance, take climate change as an example. Media influence for this issue is international news outlets and documentaries highlighting the impact of climate change, scientific reports, and policy debates. Opinion leaders like environmental activists, scientists, and policymakers are opinion leaders who follow climate change news closely and form opinions on mitigation strategies. Opinion leaders engage in public discussions, social media, and education forums to share their views and influence the general public's perception and understanding of climate change. Let's take the example of demonetization in India. News channels, newspapers, and online media extensively covered the Indian government's decision to demonetize high denomination currency notes. Opinion leaders like economists, financial experts, and political analysts are opinion leaders who analyze the economic impact and government's motive behind demonetization. Opinion leaders share their insights through interviews, articles, and public discussions. Their opinions influence how the general public perceives and discusses the government's decision on demonetization. In the context of propaganda, this theory suggests that propagandists may strategically target opinion leaders to disseminate their messages indirectly by influencing key individuals who are trusted and respected within a community. Propagandists can amplify the reach and impact of their messages on the wider population. The two-step flow process allows for a more targeted and effective dissemination of propaganda through influential intermediaries. Digital media and two-step flow of communication. In the context of digital media, the two-step flow theory takes a new dimension, and its implications for propaganda become even more relevant. Digital media has transformed the way information is disseminated, and the role of opinion leaders in the two-step flow process has adapted to the online environment. Digital media influence on opinion leaders. Digital platforms, including social media, online news outlets, blogs and forums are primary sources of information. Opinion leaders in the digital age may include influencers, experts and prominent figures with large online following. Opinion leaders in digital sphere. Digital opinion leaders actively engage with and curate content on social media platforms. They build communities around specific topics and issues, gaining followers who trust their opinions and insights. Influence on the masses through digital channels. Opinion leaders use social media platforms to share their views, analysis and interpretations of information. Their followers in turn share and discuss this content with their social network. Propaganda in the digital two-step flow. Propagandists recognize the power of digital opinion leaders and strategically target them to amplify their messages by influencing key figures with significant online reach. Propagandists aim to leverage the two-step flow process to disseminate their content more broadly. Example to understand this scenario: spread of misinformation during elections. Various digital media platforms, including social media, online news websites and messaging apps, play a crucial role in disseminating information during elections. Political influencers, bloggers and social media personalities are opinion leaders who actively participate in online political discussions and share their perspectives. Opinion leaders use their online platforms to express opinions on candidates, policies and election-related issues. Their followers, influenced by these opinions, engage in discussions and share content with their social circles. Now let's understand how the two-step flow theory operates in the realm of digital media with regard to propaganda. Digital media as information source. Digital media, particularly social media platforms, serve as primary sources of information. Online news outlets and blogs like news websites and online forums contribute to the diverse landscape of digital media. Opinion leaders in the digital sphere. In the digital age, opinion leaders extend beyond traditional figures to include influencers, bloggers and online personalities with large following. Individuals with expertise or influence in specific domain become digital opinion leaders, actively engaging with their audience. Two-step flow in digital era. Opinion leaders actively engage with digital media, consuming and interpreting information relevant to their areas of interest. Digital opinion leaders express their views on social media platforms, blogs and other online spaces, shaping their followers' perception. Amplification and dissemination. Opinion leaders share information, opinions and content on social media platforms, initiating the first step in the two-step flow process. Social media algorithms may further amplify certain content based on engagement metrics, increasing its reach and impact. Targeted propaganda in digital two-step flow. Propagandists recognize the influence of digital opinion leaders and strategically target them to disseminate their messages. Propagandists leverage social media platforms to disseminate propaganda content directly to opinion leaders, aware that their followers are likely to be influenced by these figures. Challenges and considerations. Algorithms on social media platforms may introduce bias, potentially leading to the selective dissemination of certain content. Digital spaces can contribute to the formation of filter bubbles and echo chambers, limiting exposure to diverse opinions and reinforcing existing beliefs. Digital media facilities shift information dissemination, making it challenging to counteract false narratives once they gain traction. Now let's understand this scenario with a 4-step example. Political campaign propaganda. I am explaining this in 4 steps. Stage 1, digital media influence. Political campaigns use social media, online ads and websites to reach voters with their messages and propaganda. Step 2. Opinion leaders in their digital sphere. Political influencers, bloggers and online activists may actively engage with the political content and share their opinions on digital platforms. Step 3. Two-step flow in digital era. Political influencers consume campaign-related content, form opinions and express them on social media. Their followers, trusting their opinions, are more likely to be influenced by the shared political propaganda. And the last step, that is the step 4, is targeted propaganda in the digital two-step flow. Political campaigns strategically target digital opinion leaders, using them as conduits to disseminate tailored propaganda messages to a wider audience. Challenges and considerations in digital era. Algorithmic amplification. Social media algorithms can play a role in amplifying certain content, potentially making propaganda more potent in the digital two-step flow. Filter bubbles and echo chambers. Digital spaces may contribute to the formation of filter bubbles and echo chambers, where individuals are exposed to information that aligns with the existing beliefs, reinforcing propaganda effects. Rapid information spread. Digital platforms facilitate the rapid spread of information, including propaganda, making it challenging to counteract false narratives once they gain momentum. Understanding the dynamics of the two-step flow theory in digital age is crucial for recognizing how propaganda can be disseminated and its potential impact on public opinion in the era of online communication. Advantages of two-step flow theory. The two-step flow theory offers several advantages in understanding and analyzing the dissemination of propaganda in society. While the theory has evolved with the rise of digital media, its core principles remain relevant. Here are some advantages of the two-step flow in the context of propaganda. The theory acknowledges the role of opinion leaders or intermediaries who act as filters between the media and the general public. Opinion leaders can help in scrutinizing and interpreting propaganda messages, potentially mitigating the direct impact of manipulative content on the broader population. Propagandists can strategically target opinion leaders who hold sway over specific audiences or communities. This allows for more focused and efficient dissemination of propaganda messages, tailoring content to suit the values, beliefs and interests of target audience. Opinion leaders often have established credibility and trust within their communities. Propaganda messages delivered through trusted opinion leaders are more likely to be accepted by the audience, as the information is perceived as more reliable. The two-step flow theory has adapted well to the digital age, where social media influencers, bloggers and online personalities serve as modern opinion leaders. In the digital context, propagandists can leverage the reach and influence of these individuals to disseminate messages rapidly and effectively. The theory is particularly useful in explaining how complex or nuanced issues are disseminated and understood. Propaganda often involves simplifying or framing information in a way that appeals to emotions or pre-existing beliefs. Opinion leaders help in breaking down and interpreting such information for the audience. Two-step flow theory consider the social network dynamics that influence information flow. Propagandists can exploit social connections within communities using opinion leaders as bridges to disseminate content effectively through trusted relationships. The theory acknowledges that the individuals may be overwhelmed by sheer volume of information in the media. Opinion leaders act as gatekeepers, helping to filter and prioritize information, preventing information overload and facilitating a more manageable flow of content to the wider audience. The theory recognizes that opinion leaders' influence can have a lasting impact on individuals over time. Propagandists can aim for sustained influence by strategically cultivating relationships with opinion leaders, ensuring the continued dissemination of their messages. While the two-step flow theory has its advantages, it is essential to note that the landscape of communication and media is continuously evolving. Contemporary analysis may also consider the role of multi-step flow and network structures in understanding the complexities of information dissemination and propaganda in the digital era. Disadvantages of two-step flow theory. While the two-step flow theory has been influential in understanding communication processes, it does have certain limitations and disadvantages, especially when applied to the context of propaganda. Here are some drawbacks associated with the two-step flow theory in the context of propaganda. The two-step flow theory offers a simplified model of communication, overlooking the potential for the complex and dynamic interactions in modern media environments. Propaganda campaigns, especially in digital age, may involve multiple steps and a variety of influential actors beyond the two-step flow. Limited exploration of feedback. The theory doesn't dive deeply into the feedback loop between opinion leaders and the broader audience. Propaganda campaigns often rely on feedback mechanisms to adjust and refine their messaging. The two-step flow theory may not fully capture the iterative nature of propaganda dissemination. The theory primarily focuses on the vertical information flow from media to opinion leaders to the general public and ignore horizontal flow. In digital context, information can also spread horizontally among peers. Ignoring this horizontal flow limits the theory applicability, especially in understanding the role of social networks in propaganda. The two-step flow theory assumes a relatively homogeneous and stable community with shared values and beliefs. In diverse societies, especially those experiencing rapid changes, communities may be more fragmented, making it challenging to identify singular opinion leaders or predict their influence accurately. The theory may overemphasize the influence of opinion leaders while underestimating the agency and critical thinking of general public. Propagandists might exploit this assumption by targeting opinion leaders, potentially neglecting the fact that audience can engage critically with information. The theory doesn't extensively consider how individuals consume media independently, apart from the influence of opinion leaders. In the digital age, individuals have access to a vast array of media sources, and they may form opinions independently of opinion leaders, especially on niche or personal interests. The two-step flow theory may present influence as a static one-way process. The dynamic nature of online interaction, rapid information sharing, and real-time engagement on digital platforms is not fully captured by the theory, limiting its applicability in fast-paced digital environments. The theory may not adequately address cultural variations and contextual factors that influence information flow. Propaganda campaigns need to consider cultural nuances and context-specific dynamics, which the two-step flow might not comprehensively account for. While the two-step flow theory provides a valuable framework for understanding certain aspects of communication, researchers and analysts should be aware of these limitations when applying it to study propaganda, particularly in the complex and dynamic landscape of digital media. Summary: the two-step flow theory is examined focusing on its central tenet that opinion leaders act as mediators between media messages and the general public. In the context of propaganda, this analysis identifies opinion leaders such as political figures, and influences as pivotal in shaping public perception. The process of media exposure and interpretation by opinion leaders is detailed, emphasizing their role in filtering propaganda content. The dissemination of propaganda from opinion leaders to the masses through various communication channels is explored. This examination highlights the indirect influence of propaganda on public opinion, with opinion leaders serving as intermediaries, amplifying and reinforcing messages within their social circles. The role of opinion leaders in political propaganda campaigns is analyzed, emphasizing their impact on shaping public opinions. The stages of two-step flow process encompassing media exposure, interpretation by opinion leaders, dissemination and mass influence are outlined. In the next class, we shall have a detailed understanding on publicity and media theories related to publicity. Till then, thank you.